Okay, here we go. Oh, this is why I don't have a YouTube channel. Okay, all right. Oh man, is this how you do YouTube? I don't know. Am I doing this right? Oh, where's my coffee? Okay, now I'm good. Hey, Family 5, it's Miss Struck, coming to you from my apartment. Sorry it's taken me so long to get stuff like this up, but I think this is kind of a crazy time for everybody. But I am here to do some English. April is National Poetry Month, which means we get to do something that we're already really good at, and I will give you bonus points for doing it. Also, from your posts on Google Classroom, I know you're bored. So this is something fun we can do. I have actually been seeking a lot of comfort and refuge in poetry and the beautiful words of other people. So I hope that the poems that we read together this month bring comfort to you as well, or maybe even like spark some curiosity, encourage you to write a little bit on your own, whatever floats your boat. So yeah, let's dive in. This is my little intro video. We will be reading a couple of poems every week in the month of April, and then we'll be using our Unveiled strategy to analyze each poem and get to know the author a little bit. So as a refresher, I wonder if I could put it here. Could I put the Unveiled method here? Like what it stands for? Let's try it. The UN of Unveil is understanding, which means you want to understand every word, phrase, idiom within the poem. And if you remember, when we unveil a poem, we go through first and annotate, and we circle any words that we don't know. From there, you're going to want to go through and actually define the words. Keep in mind that if there's a phrase or a proper noun or some sort of reference where you're like, I know that's a name or I know that's a place, but I don't know a lot about it, that can be included in your understand portion of the Unveil project as well. So you'll need a dictionary or you're gonna need Google, folks, but we know how to do this, so I'm not too worried. After understanding, you have voice. And remember, with the voice of a poem, let's see if anybody says it with me, the poet is not the speaker, right? So keep in mind, you're really trying to figure out who is the voice in this poem. Now, I loved the day that we did this in class when you guys gave me those little voice poems you wrote on your own. Someone wrote their poem from the perspective of a park bench. We had people who wrote their poem from the perspective of someone else and created that voice using different elements. So think about the voice in each poem that we read this month and see what kind of characteristics or elements you can pull from it to analyze. After voice, we have events. What are the sequence of events? What happens in this poem? Is it chronological? Does it have a beginning, a middle, and an end? Is it just kind of stream of consciousness? So with events, you're going to want to think, can I write this out as a timeline? Can I do bullet points of what happened? Sometimes it's a good indicator to go stanza by stanza in your poem or couplet by couplet and kind of annotate, what's going on in this stanza or in this little couplet of lines, what's really happening here. For those of you who don't have a printer at home or you're not able to print these poems, I recommend doing what I do, which is kind of looking at it on a screen and then jotting down some annotations on a piece of paper. Easy peasy. So we've got UN, understanding, V for voice, E for events. Next comes interpret techniques. All right, so this is your poetic literary devices, your allusion, allegory, metaphor, simile, personification. What's that thing Miss Vogel does when she yells at inanimate objects? What was that again? Oh yeah, apostrophe. Right? Hyperbole, all these things you all have notes on. This is what you really want to dig into. What did the poet use? What poetic devices did the poet use to really bring this poem to life, right? To make it a good piece of writing. And then last but not least, you've got the L, which stands for look, listen, and lesson, right? Look deep into this poem and see what is it that the speaker is trying to convey. What did the poet want to get across when they wrote this piece? What are you going to take away from it? And remember, we talked a lot in class about how, it really depends on your own experiences and what you've gone through in terms of how you interpret a poem. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's no right or wrong way to do it. The poem we're going to start with today is called Keeping Quiet. The poem was written by a man named Pablo Neruda. He wrote all of his poems in Spanish, and then they've been translated to English. So I'll be reading the English translation, but I have also provided you with a video that reads the original Spanish version. I really encourage you to check it out, guys. It's beautiful. So without further ado, this is Keeping Quiet by Pablo Neruda. Keeping quiet. And now we will count to 12, and we will all keep still. For once, on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. It would be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. We could all be together in a sudden strangeness. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm the whales, and the men gathering salt would not look at his hurt hands. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade, doing nothing. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now I'll count up to 12, and you keep quiet, and I will go. Sit with that for a little bit, read it a couple more times, and when you're ready, go through and unveil that piece. I'm really looking forward to what you guys share. In addition to the worksheet online with unveiling the poem, I'll also have a Flipgrid account open, so if you guys want to discuss this in more detail and just kind of share your thoughts verbally, you can always submit a Flipgrid video as well. Look for the link to that in our Google Classroom assignment. If you guys have been reading poems that you're really enjoying and you'd like your classmates to share those as well, comment below, I guess, in this video and tell me what you want to read next. I'll be popping up with videos every couple of days. As you can tell, Ms. Struck is not technologically savvy enough to be a YouTuber, but hey, shout out to anyone who is. Help me run my channel. No, I'm just kidding. All right, guys, before I go, I have to say I love you, I miss you, I cannot wait to see you soon. This is Ms. Struck, out.